Be a doormat. Let people take advantage of you. What about Jesus' words in Matthew chapter 5 that say, you have heard the law that says punishment must match the injury, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, offer the other cheek also. Now, these are very famous verses that we're all very familiar with. We're told all the time, right? We have this discussion, this understanding of, turn the other cheek. But one of the things that we really struggle with is we misinterpret these all of the time because we don't understand the culture. Most of us believe that Jesus is saying, let people push you around. Be a doormat. Let people take advantage of you. And that's simply because we don't understand the original context. We don't understand the Jewish culture. So let's walk through this. Let's understand really the heart of God. And Jesus begins, first of all, by telling us, do not resist an evil person. And the word that he uses, the original Greek word for resist that Jesus uses is anthistemi, which means to stand against. It's a military term. And what Jesus is saying is every day you have a choice. You know that inner feeling that rises up when someone insults you? When someone takes advantage of you, you have this anger that comes up and you just want to attack them. Well, what you do is you automatically set yourself against them and you set against that person in your heart. There's this outward belief that, no, I don't want anything that happens, right? We have this inward hardening of our heart towards that person. And so what Jesus begins this statement with is saying, do not set yourself against an evil person. See, every day you have to stand against your desire to seek out revenge. That you can draw your sword and cleave someone in half, but don't. Resist retaliation. That's where Jesus begins. Resist that revenge desire inside of your heart. And then he illustrates this resisting resilience and retaliation. And then he illustrates this in 4 basic images or situations. And the first one is all we're going to look at tonight. And it's the most famous of all, when someone slaps you. He slaps you on the cheek, referring to an insult more than a physical attack. See, human beings typically have 2 hands, right? A right and a left, and we use them in our culture interchangeably. But Jewish people in Jesus' day did not. See, the right hand was considered clean. It's the right hand of God, the right hand of power, the right hand of judgment, right? So the right hand was a symbol of holiness. It was a symbol of strength. And so you would use your right hand to greet people. You'd use your right hand to eat. You would use your right hand to take oaths, right? All that important stuff. But your left hand was considered unclean, right? You would use your left hand to engage in matters of personal hygiene. I don't need to describe that anymore, right? So you would do all of the unclean stuff with your left hand and all your clean stuff with your right hand. There's something else about that culture that you need to understand. It was focused upon a class system. There was higher class people and middle class people and lower class and then slaves. And it was very, very class focused. And everyone knew their place and everyone had a place. So when you would hit someone, it would depend on who they were and who you were, and that would determine how you would hit them. To slap someone, it was to slap someone you thought was lower than you. To hit with a fist was someone that you thought was equal to you. And so a master would hit his servant, he would slap them, he would never use his fist, right? Now, to backhand someone was a way of humiliating a person. So notice that Jesus talks about the right cheek and the left cheek. So he's giving us a physical example here. So if you and I are face to face and I'm going to slap you, he says to slap you on the right cheek. Well, I can't slap you on the right cheek just normally. I have to backhand you in order to slap you. So this is, Jesus says from the very beginning, is about humiliation. So if we were standing face to face and I'm going to slap you, I have to use my right hand to slap your right cheek. So I'm back slapping you in order to have that happen. And Jesus says, now turn your left cheek, right? So that they can hit you again, right? So all of a sudden you turn your left cheek. Now I only have a choice. I have to slap you or I have to punch you, but either one of those sees me as an equal. I can no longer backslap you, right? So the person being slapped turns the other cheek and is essence saying, I know you think that you are better than me, but take your best shot. You cannot take my dignity. Take your best shot. We are equals this time. You are no better than me. You cannot treat me as an inferior. See, this is not just public defiance. It's also about protecting who they are. It is a statement of saying, I'm not going to be your doormat. It's God equalizing the playing field. This is justice. And we want revenge, right? Well, that's how we act in our world, where we're the judge, the jury, and the executioner. And we place ourselves in a higher position than that person. But by turning the other cheek, we are physically equalizing the playing field. We're taking our power back. You and I are raised with this idea that an eye for an eye is about retribution. It's about revenge. In our world, it's about payback. And our world is about payback. It's never about justice. It's about revenge. It's not about the equal punishment. It's about hurting them so bad that they would never dare come against you again. And actually, an eye for an eye was God trying to keep revenge out of the picture. The punishment must fit the crime, the law of equality rather than the law of revenge. And God is limiting the extent of punishment. He's discouraging cruelty with this statement. So you cannot take more than you deserve. See, our God is a God of justice, not a God of revenge. And it takes great strength to turn the other cheek. Turning the other cheek means that you took the blunt force trauma of someone's worse and remained standing. The way of peace is not a way of powerlessness. To turn the other cheek wasn't about powerlessness. It was to find a greater power than returning evil for evil.